All right, everyone. Welcome to the second game. I have this posted as round 2. Technically in the tournament, this is round 3 because I had a bye on the first round, but this is my second game against Annie. We are playing the Empire this time, the Royal Wombat. We are playing the Empire. And you'll note here, because of Bothawi Ryloth, I'm expecting a fairly strong rebel ground game here. So I want to consolidate my navy and not get picked off. I'm going to have to build ground units, so I don't want to spend a lot of extra resources building spaceships if I can avoid it. So sometimes if you have Bothawi and Ryloth, you can do something like build alliance in Geonosis if you get desperate. And that will help develop your ground game, or get another speeder and build 2 speeders on turn 1. Then you'll have a total of 4 in the base. But Annie opts for the Witches of Dathomir approach. That might mean that she's holding on to 2 cut supply lines. Putting that much out in Dathomir, it does help prevent me from drawing probes, but it does put a lot out on the map. And as you know, rule number 1, crush rebel units. Rule number 2, subjugate rebel strongholds. So Annie draws Saw and passes, takes a different card instead. That's probably the correct decision in tournament play. Alright, trying to decide on the base. With this sort of setup, I actually wouldn't be surprised if the base is in Dathomir. Seems like that might be logical. Blockade everything, sabotage everything, and still have the rebel forces nearby. So I'm going to have to be very careful about advancing on Dathomir. And take a look at these 2 objectives I drew, propaganda and planetary conquest. Those are basically 2 game-breaking cards in turn 1. You just have to, and now Mothma's got temporary alliance, which means she's sitting in Utapau ripe for a planetary conquest. Okay, so this is a great situation for me. I have 2 turn 1 game breakers, and I'm also going to have tempo advantage. Now, Annie keeps Riken back, which will allow Riken to block potentially. Also, with Leia on a mission, the concern is that if Leia's on Build Alliance, then that will get her 1 fist to block planetary, and Riken could add a 2nd, and that's almost a for sure fail. So I'm really hoping that he opens up with an attack in Mandalore or Megiddo. Dodonna could be on Infiltrate, could be on Build Alliance. Because Vader's on a mission... Okay, so it's Infiltrate. That's a great place to infiltrate, because if Vader is on propaganda, it's now a 2v1 roll on there, and I have to put the effort into moving Naboo, which is not ideal. However, Vader is not on propaganda, Vader is on planetary. So I need to do planetary now so that Leia doesn't build alliance, and then Riken block to give a 2v1. So I just have to do it. And Annie thinks for a while about whether to block. It'll be a 3v1, which means I'm likely to win that, but planetary is such a mess, especially because Tag is on a mission too. So 3v1, I really need 2 or 3 successes here. I roll 1. Thankfully, Annie rolls a blank, and then I'm able to bring some units to Utapau and then follow through with my capture with Tag. Best to bring 3 units to prevent, some sort of hit and run and make deploying a little bit easier there next turn. So bring a ATST and a Stormtrooper from the Death Star, which is what was planning on going there if I didn't draw Planetary Conquest. And now Leia's got a problem. Where do you build alliance? I think you probably build alliance in Geonosis here and just go ground, is what my play as a rebel would be. Next turn, I would rapid mobilize the units from Dathomir back into the base, bring the speeders back, you're going to build a speeder in a shield bunker, and then you're guaranteed 3 speeders in a shield bunker in the base. I think that would be my play here. Any ops for loyalty in Ord, that does force my units to go to Ord, which isn't really where I want to go necessarily, but that's fine. Alright, Teg's capture is successful and Mothma is under imperial detention here. So Tarkin goes to Ord, and I need to bring the Star Destroyer because of the force, the amount of units he has in Dathomir. I need to bring a bunch of units, but I do also need to keep the assault carrier back to defend against Alderaan and to potentially go to Corellia as well. So last move is going to be the Star Destroyer up north with Tarkin. The reason you don't bring the assault carrier is because it could get picked off by a Y-wing fairly easily. You want to keep your assault carriers fairly covered early on. I know I have one in Coruscant, but I feel like a Y-wing up there, or a assault carrier up there would have been too exposed, and I don't want the Death Star getting stuck in a corner. Okay, end of round 1. Leaders back to the pool, and I draw Utapau and Geonosis. Okay, not great. 2 kind of mediocre mission cards, but that's okay because I drew Planetary turn 1, which was great. I also have Tarkin's starting mission here, which I can put on Utapau and get extra builds right away. So that feels great. And then I pull Krennic's Finest for my leader, which gives me a capture, and I can put Utapau underneath it. So in case he rescues Mothma, I can immediately capture whoever rescues her if they stay. So he picks Lando. Because it's Lando, I have to put my TIE Fighter in Utapau to keep the capture on with independent operation. Unless I wanted to bait Lando in going to Utapau and then capture him himself. But I also want to keep Utapau under control. So he puts a speeder into the base, and a U-wing is his build, and puts that in Ryloth instead of a Y-wing. Okay. So Striker on Mothma, extra troops in Naboo. And then I have to deploy some ground units to Ord because I'm going to need to deal with these Dathomir witches. It's possible he just rapid mobilizes them back. We'll see. Annie has played a lot of Rebellion, but not a lot recently. It's been several years. So, not having played me a lot, they probably don't know kind of my 3 rules and what I do. So I basically obsess over trying to smoosh rebels. So the fact that they have rebels on the map, it's like moth to a flame for a Wombat. Okay, 2 leaders back. That means they're probably going to get attack happy. Maybe there's some sort of Lando moves. I do a mission and then he undercovers to block it and then attacks again. That's a possibility. There's some maneuvers with Lando like that. He has 2 level 1 objectives. I think one of them is cut supply lines. That matches why they would have done that sort of deployment. And Lando's going to open with an attack here and do a little retreat. So he cancels my play another card. And opts to retreat everything to Dantooine, I think, here. Does keep 2 soldiers behind. 2 is a little bit risky because you could miss and I could hit, and then next turn we could blow each other up, and then my Guido is still under my control. When I do that retreat move, I like to leave 3 soldiers behind, because even if I whiff, my next turn we each can play our Destroy a Triangle card, and then I still have 1 left. So we'll see. I missed though, so I'm dead. Doesn't matter. Good gamble. Okay. So now I've got the Emperor here, and I think this is actually a misplay here. I rule by fear where Tarkin is, because my idea is that if Leia's on a rescue, I want my extra intel there, but also it opens up for a sabotage. Now Riken chooses to sabotage Ord instead. That makes me think the base is maybe over in Dathomir, or Dantooine. And that's okay. So I might have taken the Riken role in Utapau, but there's a 33% that sabotage fails, and the rebels have had a lot go wrong already with my luck. So yeah, it's probably fine to sabotage Ord. Okay. I attack in to clean up Megiddo here. I'm going to lead with flipping the combat so that it increases my chances of getting a heal. He's going to hold them back to blow up the tank. And so now if he, maybe I should have just blocked hits, I don't know. But I flip, so he rolls one hit. I think flipping is right, though, because if I roll hits, I don't want him to roll heals. So anyway, I destroy Megiddo. I bring my friends back with me, clear the blockade, and then more importantly, am prepped to attack the rebels next turn because I have an assault carrier and an AT-AT and a tank I can deploy, and then I can do some damage on that rebel fleet before the Mon Cal comes out. Okay, Leia with Build Alliance and Nal Hutta. Now that sort of smells like Support of the Hutts to me. But keep in mind, I didn't play Propaganda turn 1, which means I have it now. So I go ahead and move Tag to Malastare because there's no Y-Wing on the queue. So there's a reasonable chance that I can take Bothwy next turn by deploying a tank in Malastare and then moving the tank and the troop in. Dodonna moves the Y-Wing out. That's in theory a little risky because I could attack the Y-Wing and capture, but I'd obviously much prefer Dodonna. So Vader just goes about his business, moves to Toydaria, and threatens to, we want to blockade all this Hutt loyalty. So that's it. Okay, no infiltrate that round, which means he's drawing another level 1 objective. I drew Ryloth, which is nice. Oh boy. And Secret Facility. That's a great pick with Ryloth being occupied by a rebel soldier because you can just subjugate Ryloth at the end of the turn. He's not going to get a build for it. A lucky draw. Very good. I could also pair it up with Display of Power. There's a few things I can do. I've got Propaganda set up for the Hutt region. Yeah, so I put Bothwy in Secret Facility. And then I also love Director Krennic. I feel like Krennic wins fights. And Rebels pick Maydeen. Okay, Maydeen is interesting because now I kind of have to deploy that AT-AT to Megiddo because he could Maydeen one of the soldiers and one of the ATSTs, and then I've got a super weak force over there, and I'm planning on killing rebels this turn. So I put another TIE fighter in with Mothma just to prevent some Y-Wing shenanigans, maybe, in Utapau. And then I put the striker with the Death Star, the tank with Malastare. Okay. 3 rebels on missions. Lando back, Maydeen back. And Maydeen actually uses his action card to blow up 3 units. That's probably ticks the Stormtrooper in the ATST. Okay. Might mean crippling blows incoming. That might be the better situation than reducing everything to 1 health if he attacked in. Although, I don't know, with point blank assault. Anyway, Megiddo feels like it's probably going to get attacked here. Don't have much to do about it, and it's a build turn, so I need to make sure I'm keeping my options available. 1 to bring into the Megiddo fight, potentially. 1 to go to Nal Hutta. 1 to go to Bothwy. 1 flexible move, which means I can really play 1 other mission here. And so Vader's on Propaganda, obviously. but I want him to think about what he's sabotaging because it's a build round. So I want to put Tarkin on a mission. I just put him on Rule by Fear to prevent him from just sabotaging Utapau and moving on with his life. Okay. He is attacking with Lando into my Guido, bringing everything. Now, if he's trying to score Crippling Blow, maybe you just bring a single speeder in and wipe out the AT-AT. I don't know. Or maybe he's trying to score Rebel Assault. So I bring Krennic into the match because, again, if you remember, I want to preserve my Star Destroyers best I can. If he's trying to score Rebel Assault, I just don't want to leave the Star Destroyer there. I want him to force to try to kill it. He might cancel. No, he does Y-Wing, so he's probably trying to kill the Star Destroyer here. So it's good that I picked Imposing Presence because that'll block 2 hits. And then he's only rolling 2 red dice, so there's a reasonable chance this Star Destroyer will survive. He could roll crits, though. No, just blanks. Okay, 2 red blanks, 3 hits on the TIE Fighter. 1 crit. Okay, so he did 3 damage, but the 4th one is blocked. Okay, firing back. 1 fighter. Okay, got the Corvette too. Okay, Corvette and Y-Wing. That leaves just the X-Wings behind. That Star Destroyer is still at risk, so I'm probably still going to have to retreat because I don't want it to die to an ion cannon, which it easily could. You could flip the combat, but tow cables makes more sense here. So I do 2 to a speeder, and he's doing 4 to an ATST or AT-AT. He's going to roll first. Now, I could roll 2 heals and heal my AT-AT. So he really wants to drop at least 1 more damage on there, I think. Okay, 2 hits for the Stormtrooper, so he's probably dead. And then, do you put 2 hits on the ATST? Guess it depends on what he rerolls here. Okay, 3rd hit. Okay, so you probably do 1 on the AT-AT and 2 on the ATST. I mean, maybe I roll Yahtzee and do 3 heals and then screw this whole thing, but I think 1 on the AT-AT is right and 2 on the ATST. I do have 2 rerolls with Krennic. Did roll one already. Now I could re-roll the hits, but in this case I'm just going to value killing his stuff, let him score a Crippling Blow. I healed the AT-ST with my 1 heal, so that seems fine. And then 1 re-roll for black, so I could roll another heal here. Nope. Okay. So Stormtrooper dead, AT-AT dead. He scores Crippling Blow, I think, if I remember correctly here. And then I have an AT-ST left. Technically, he's supposed to score Crippling Blow now, but that's kind of a minor detail. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So he scores it. He decides to stay. I retreat and go back to Mandalore. So now my goal is to wait out Build Alliance and see what's happening here. Because again, this could be supply lines. Because he's got 1 blockaded, 2 for a sabotage. Maybe it won't be that. All right, we're doing our attack on Bothawi. Now this is actually a little tricky because if I use 501st here to guarantee that I can subjugate this to get an AT-ST next turn, then I cannot use it in Ryloth. So I have to be a little bit creative on it. So the issue with that is, like, if I don't wait out sabotage and I just try to take over Ryloth with a troop and a bunker and troops kill each other, then he could just sabotage the bunker and then get Ryloth back, and that would feel bad if a rebel cell popped up in there. So we'll see. Okay. Infiltrate. He also does not yet want to play his Build Alliance card, which makes sense. And he also doesn't want to play Sabotage because I have Tarkin out. But because I have a captured leader, I can wait him out. 2 more moves. I know for sure I'm going to Nal Hutta with 1. And then, I decide to keep... I think the right move is to... Well, that's fine. Because I have Tarkin on Rule by Fear, I can afford to keep the Emperor back just in case I want to block. It's a little risky in case Leia's on Subversion, maybe. Okay, Leia's on Build Alliance. So he wants to wait out Sabotage with Riken because of Tarkin. That allows Vader to play Propaganda right now and remove all 3 loyalty, which is super crippling. Now again, if he has... Undercover, he could move Lando there and roll 2v1. But he does not have Undercover, it doesn't look like. Or maybe he wants to save it. Okay, and there's the Sabotage. So now he's got to pick a subjugated system in case Tarkin's on Rule by Fear. Or in case Tarkin's on R&D. So I got pretty much everything I wanted out of that turn. So now that Sabotage is used... I can play my secret facility in Ryloth to block that off too. There's no risk of anything else happening anymore. But I don't have 501st. So because I don't have 501st, I can still bring the shield bunker. And I can bring a striker. Now, I can do a damage with Bombard, but because Hold Them Back is gone, he does not have a way to do enough damage to my shield bunker to kill it, and he doesn't have a way to heal himself. So instead, he's just going to try to cycle through his cards, which is fine. Confrontation to play another card. That leaves me with a shield bunker and a TIE Striker there, so that feels good. If I had just picked a Stormtrooper instead, he could have killed the Stormtrooper, and then I would have just a shield bunker there instead. So that's a little trick with Secret Facility. Then I move the Emperor to Coruscant, and then I Rule by Fear with Tarkin. Okay, so far so good. This has been excellent. Everything going in my favorite game so far. I'm holding on to Display of Power. I draw Bespin and Ilum, okay. And then I have Trade Negotiations and Carbonite and Yularen. So Yularen is great for blocking, he's great for finding the base, he's great for drawing probes, he's great attack and defense at 2 apiece. Okay, we put the Moncal in the base, and so here's the downside to playing too many troops out on the map. For people that are learning Rebels here, is if the Empire can get a hold of them before you can get them back to the base is starting to look pretty empty. 2 speeders, 3 units, and then a Moncal. Like that's a defeatable base. If the 2 speeders were back, might be a different story. So I dropped the Assault Carrier in Coruscant because I want to cover both Alderaan and Cato here. And I spend some time thinking about if I want to play Yularen's card or not. I decide not to because he's got Obi in play, and that means he might rescue, and if he rescues, I might want to block it. I don't really want him drawing a level 2 objective here because the Death Star is not protected. I know he doesn't have a lot of units in the base, but still. Important not to lose the Death Star if you can avoid it. Okay, so I play Carbonite and Capture. So here's my thinking. If he rescues Mothma and stays there, then I can do a Capture, Carbonite, and then maybe another Capture in Utapau because somebody will be there left at the end of the turn. And if you remember, Sweep the Area is Utapau. Obi-Wan's card is his rescue card that lets you draw an objective, does make him stay there, although he might have Noble Sacrifice. But at this point, I don't know if I mind Noble Sacrifice too much. Alright, Obi's on a rescue, but it's only Daring Rescue. So I'm going to go ahead and block this, I think. So it'll be a 3-on-3. I have slight odds in my favor because I win on ties. I roll 2. Obi rolls 4, so he rescues Mothma, and then he has a choice of staying or going. And he decides to go, and now I feel pretty dumb for blocking it, if I'm going to tell you the truth, because then that kind of gives away that I have Carbonite too. But whatever. Okay, trade negotiations with the Emperor out in Mon Cal. Now I've got plenty of Star Destroyer production. It also checks to make sure the base is not there. The better move might have been to just attack Magneto with that Star Destroyer before Lando can move him away. Oh, he's going to plan the assault. Okay, plan the assault on... So he's definitely trying to kill that Star Destroyer. It also makes me think the base is over there if he's planning the assault there too. So I'm going to try to block it with Krennic. Just, I mean, you never know. He might roll 4 and get lucky here. I roll 1. And then we've got a fight with a Y-Wing. So in this instance, I'm not likely to survive this fight very well. Oh, here we go. Okay, anytime you attack with a Mon Cal, you should play Fleet Logistics, even if the Imperial player doesn't have a lot of dice, because they can always get lucky, right? So he flips the combat to me, but because there's no Fleet Logistics, I already have 4 hits, and then now a 5th. He would much rather have 4 hits on that Mon Cal than that 5th hit. That's hard to heal. Okay. So I put all 5 on the Mon Cal and 1 on the Y-Wing. He rolls 3 and 2 re-rolls. Okay. Okay. He kills my Star Destroyer, which I think was his goal. And then also maybe my Striker or my TIE Fighter. Kills my Striker. Okay, and then he does reveal that he had Rebel Assault, but it did cost him a Mon Cal to do it. Now, to be fair, if he played Fleet Logistics, it wouldn't have saved his Mon Cal either because he didn't roll a heal. So I think he's worried about track them, so he stays. Also, maybe he wins that fight. I do have the TIE Fighter card, though, which is going to make it hard to do. And Nebulons can't heal themselves despite being medical frigates. So now he plays Fleet Logistics. Okay. I don't know, maybe ion cannon there if you're not planning on retreating. Not really sure. Okay, 0 hits. 1 hit. Okay, no, blocked because of Fleet Logistics. Okay, no hits. 1 hit. Kills the TIE Fighter. Okay, then I play 1 more damage to guarantee that kill. He does 1 back to me. Okay, he will probably kill me here. Nope. Nope. Okay. That's unlucky for him. Alright, Krennic saves the day again, kind of. And then I go for a capture on Dodonna because, again, I'm sitting on Carbonite, so I gotta try to make use of it, and Dodonna doesn't have any fists to defend himself. So no subvert for Leia, and he opts not to play Lando to block, so I get a capture off. Okay, he's attacking Ord. He does not have any level 2 objectives, but maybe he's trying to position for something else. If I were him, I might have... I mean, obviously, I know what I have, right? So I might have been tempted to try to sabotage where Krennic is, just in case I am on Carbonite, even if it fails, but you do have to be proactive as rebels, so... Okay, Lando clears out Ord. And then I might as well Carbonite before anything else shows up. And then, you know, he really doesn't have anything to block it. And then with Carbonite off in play here, it puts everything in an awkward spot. So Carbonite rolls, it's successful. I push him back 1 spot. And then at this point, Annie actually concedes. So Annie's holding on to defend the people in support of the Huts, and I already trashed support of the Huts because Moncal is dead. He's not producing any units, and he's got a tough path to get there. You can see he did have a couple of missions, maybe covert. It did hurt having Mothma captured, but good game to Annie. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I'm off to the next round where I'm playing Grant. So looking forward to that. I will post some times here and stream here in a little bit. All right, thanks guys.